Buying a home can be a really exciting process, but it can also lead to very costly mistakes if you don't know what you're doing, especially in a tight market like Spokane. Today, we're going to cover the top 10 most likely mistakes that I have seen people make and how you can avoid them. Welcome back to Living in Spokane, Washington. If you're new here, my name's Hunter McKay, and I'm your local real estate broker. I'm here to make the buying and selling process as smooth as possible, no matter when you're thinking about making the move. So please drop a like or a comment, and make sure to subscribe where you're always notified about new upcoming videos. The number one mistake that people miss is skipping the pre-approval. They say to me, Hunter, I'm fine. I have good credit. I have a good job. I'll know how to get my loan when I find the house that I love. It just never works out that way. Never, hardly ever, not even once. It's only when you are actually perfect and have everything ready to go. And even then, the lender is going to ask you for things because it's 2024, baby, not 2008. Come on, get the pre-approval. At the end of the day, if you find the house that you love and I've let you go out without a pre-approval letter, what's most likely to happen is someone else has already gotten their pre-approval and they're submitting the offer, and then you're getting with the lender and doing the application and they can't send the letter yet. Yeah, you're going to be fine in like 24 hours, but I need that letter now, and now you've lost the deal. A second big one is not budgeting for additional costs. They think, well, I brought the down payment. That's everything, right? Wrong. We just made an additional video that we'll link down in the description. Please go check that one out. It is a great example of all of the different costs and when you're expected to pay them and who else might be able to give you a credit to help you. A lot of people overlook location factors. They think it's just the house. I'll be inside it. I don't need to care about my neighborhood. I don't need to care about my commute. I don't care what school district I'm in. But all of those things matter. And if you love the home, but it's in a terrible location, maybe you shouldn't pay as much for that home. If you're dead set on it, at least protect yourself by getting a good deal financially. That way, if you go to resell, you can navigate some of the negatives that you might be ignoring just because you've fallen in love. Skipping the home inspection is a big one. A lot of people say, well, I don't need one. It's okay. I'm in construction, or I know better, or I've done this before. Unless you are in a bidding war and you absolutely have to waive your inspection in order to win, you really should think heavily about it. And even if you have to waive it in order to win, you need to be considering, what might not I know? What could I come up against later, and can I afford to cover those costs? If it's a brand new home, maybe it's all right. But if it's an older home from 1908 and you have to do all of the repairs yourself, I would get an inspection. Number 5 is making an emotional decision. And yes, home buying is an emotional decision to a certain degree, but falling so head over heels in love with the home that you completely throw the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to negotiation, it's a great way to spend way too much money. And honestly, it's just a house. We really can go find an okay one at a better price, I promise. Number 6 is ignoring market trends. Specifically here in Spokane, things can shift very hard and fast. And if you're not prepared to compete or prepared to be competitive, depending on what the market requires of you, then it's going to be really hard. Right now, we've had a big shift. Sellers are still holding on to price points from 2022. And COVID money is gone, folks. We are all dragging around. I haven't met a single person that's like, yeah, 2024, that was my year, baby. I loved it. No, we're all like, oh my God, 2025 is happening. I've barely processed the last 3 pandemic years. I'm panicking. And so let's face it, that is not a resource for economic success. We are all feeling it, and the result in the market is that sellers are having to get much more competitive. Now buyers have a lot more leeway to ask for things and ask for repairs and get credits. And so it's a good time to be a buyer in Spokane, I think. Not reviewing your contracts carefully. This rings in at number 7 and honestly should be farther up on the list. While I do an amazing job of explaining things to my clients and I make sure that they review everything, I have so many clients that I can tell they get their contract from me and they don't review anything. They just sign it really quickly. That actually stresses me out. I would way rather have a client review their contract and ask questions. That way they understand what they're agreeing to. And it's a long contract, and so I like to sit down with my clients and make sure that they understand what each addendum means. Number 8, if you're going to begin a bidding war, you got to be prepared for it. What I mean is $1,000 here and there doesn't win the day. If you want to win a house, be prepared to pay $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 above asking, and be prepared to explain to the seller in a love letter exactly why they should pick you. Maybe we can shorten the inspection. Maybe you can close faster. Maybe you're cash. But if we're in a bidding war time, it can get pretty serious around here. Number 9, really think about long-term factors when you're choosing real estate. Everyone says, well, I'll just buy another house in 2 or 3 years. What if the market isn't doing what you need it to in order to make that move? We've experienced a massive upswing over the last decade, and so for a few more years, I think that things will be a little bit more relaxed on the appreciation schedule. That means that we can't just trade in our houses every couple of years like we were during COVID. We're going to need to think more long-term and be prepared to sit in our decisions for a much longer period. And so taking into consideration not just what we need today, but what we need in the future can be a really pivotal and important thing to do for your family. Not working with a local professional, not working with me. Face it, you all want to work with me. I'm pretty fun, right? At the end of the day, even if you don't choose me, I recommend that you work with someone who is really talented and knows this area. Don't pick someone who is primarily a soccer coach and does real estate on the side. Don't pick someone who is a radio DJ and is partially a real estate broker on the side. If they do real estate part-time, then they only are aware of what's going on part of the time. And that makes it really hard if the time that you're working with them is when they're kind of getting their feet wet again, figuring out where everything is. I'm aware where everything is all the time. I'm always looking and checking to see if it's moved. And so it's not just where it's at today, but it's where is it at today in retrospect to where it was yesterday, 3 weeks ago, 3 months ago. The data is so important when making good decisions. So please rely on your local, knowledgeable, full-time professionals. Thanks for watching and sticking with us all the way to the end. If you found this video helpful, please leave us a like and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Happy home hunting, and I'll see you in the next video.